Heading into this Labor Day weekend series with the Toronto Blue Jays, who are also great. Brewers need to find those bats with runners in scoring position. We'll get to that next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Great to have you along. Chuck Freimund, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin, proud host of Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. The show is up, brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com, 50% off your first year. Coming up on the show, last 2 days were not good with runners in scoring position. The Brewers cannot do what the Milwaukee Bucks are doing or the Green Bay Packers. We'll tell you about that and your questions in the mailbag. We'll touch a little bit on this weekend pitching matchups with the Jays, two best teams in baseball, I believe. All right, 2 for 24 with runners in scoring position this last 2 days. Obviously, the Brewers had been great in that area all summer long. It's one of the reasons why they're 83 and 52. But they're just going through a little slide with getting guys in. Thought Yelich on Thursday, brought him off the bench cold after sitting him all game, and maybe he was going to deliver there, and then a little weak tapper to the second baseman. That was a vintage Yelich from like earlier in the season. But, hey, they lost these last two, and I know fans are freaking out again. I know. Over the last 13, they're 5-8. I totally get it, but they have a 5.5 game lead on the Phillies, who put up like 20 runs yesterday against Miami. Was it Miami? It was somebody. The Dodgers, 5.5 game lead on the Dodgers, who are playing great as of right now. San Diego, 7.5. The Cubs are 6.5. Cubs got swept by San Francisco. Team Lifeless is back to their old tricks again. After briefly waking up last weekend against the Angels, the Cubs gave it all back against San Francisco, including getting walked off. I love it. But we got our own problems, right? The Brewers, as I mentioned, I know they're going through some injuries that they have to sort through and all that. And losing isn't fun. Quintana had a bad outing on Thursday. That's the worst one he's had all year. I mean, the guy's been great. He was 10-4 going into the game, 3 2/3, 6 earned runs. He got through the first inning, 1, 2, 3, and then it was just leaving stuff over the plate and not good. There were a couple of balls that fell in there for base hits, but hey, that's baseball, man. 3 2/3, 6 earned runs. Haven't lost my confidence level. Again, this guy's been so good. And I feel like when Quintana, he hasn't had an outing this bad, but if he struggles a little bit, man, Twitter lets him have it. I don't know, maybe because it was an old Cubs rival or whatever, but Quintana's been darn good for these guys. Let's face it, he's won 10 games. They got him at a great price. And I thought it was just a tough outing for him. So I'm not going to, here we are, late August, and we'll talk about Quintana having his worst outing of the year. But the Brewers do have a big stretch coming up. They got this weekend series with Toronto, and Toronto is great. They are. They are kind of like the Milwaukee Brewers, and they kind of talked about that on the broadcast yesterday, where they don't strike out a lot. They make a lot of contact. They hit their share of home runs, but they play smart baseball. And what the Brewers have done in the past, they take advantage of teams being just foolish against them. I mean, even yesterday, Arizona was like walking leadoff hitters and stuff like that. And you can't do that. I don't know. The Brewers get more leadoff walks than anybody. And that's partly because the Brewers are so good at doing that, working the count and all that. But Toronto has got some good pitching, good hitting. There's a reason why they're leading the American League East, and they surpassed the Yankees several weeks ago when they swept them from a 4-game series. And the Blue Jays have been in control ever since. So this is going to be a tough weekend series. Then you got the Phillies coming up next week. And I have to tell you, the Phillies, how good they are. Definitely a World Series contender. Pittsburgh the following weekend after that, Texas, St. Louis. We'll worry about those when we get to those. But Toronto and Philadelphia, quick weekend series with the Jays for Labor Day weekend, and then coming back Monday. I feel like the Brewers always play on Labor Day at home, which is great. The Brewers have an off day on Tuesday. Now, because of Major League Baseball rules, people want to know, how come there's a day off on Tuesday, a rare day off, probably never had a day off on a Tuesday. The schedule's been so stacked. The Brewers either had a choice of either taking off Monday or Tuesday. And of course, Monday, they're going to get a bigger Labor Day gate than they would on a Tuesday, right? So they chose to play on a Monday and then have off on Tuesday. So it's kind of like an April schedule on opening day where the Brewers will play one game and then they'll have off and then they'll play the next game. And that's how it is. So I don't remember ever a Tuesday off, but we'll get to that Monday night after we recap the Phillies game. And Schwarber comes in here on a heater, having hit home run heater after hitting 4 home runs. So these they're all tough games. I don't look at it like, well, the Cubs have an easier schedule or the Brewers have an easier schedule. As we saw with Arizona, those are 4 hard-fought games against those guys, right? You look at Monday night's game, had a 6-0 lead. Arizona came back to make it a ball game. Brewers had a 6-0 lead Tuesday. Had to go to the bottom of the 9th to win that one after the Diamondbacks came back and tied it at 8. Lost a low-scoring game on Wednesday, and then came back and got beat 6-4. And the Diamondbacks came back to win the final 2 games of that series. First losing homestand of the year for the Milwaukee Brewers. All right. I don't mean to say, hey, let's cut these guys some slack, but that's the first losing homestand of the season. I'm taking 83-52, and I know they're dealing with injuries. They're down to Easton McGee, and he did a nice job there holding down the fort late in that game, but they can't afford too many more injuries. In fact, they got to start getting some of these guys back. They're supposed to get Churio back this weekend. We'll see. Now, it was not a great minor league stint for Churio as far as at the plate. He was striking out a lot, like half of his at-bats. But Murphy was saying, well, he's working on a few things and all that. We'll see when he gets back. I'm Churio's I'm not worried about that guy. But it's a big series coming up. But got to get the bats going again with runners in scoring position. I say this when I talk about the Milwaukee Brewers. They can't do what the Milwaukee Bucks and Green Bay Packers are doing. Not the winning part, but making moves like the Packers did with Micah Parsons yesterday. Here's Micah Parsons joining the Milwaukee Green Bay Packers on a 4-year, $184 million contract. I mean, that's like the worth of the entire Brewers franchise practically. I mean, just kidding, but you know what I'm saying. And like when the Bucks went out and made that deal for Damian Lillard, who everybody was after, and he ends up in Milwaukee, and the national media shuts up because they hated the fact that he's in Milwaukee. And it didn't work out for Damian Lillard. The point is, and the Micah Parsons, who knows how that's going to work out? We'll see. The Packers and the Bucks, because of league rules there, they can go out and make splashes like that. The Brewers, because there's no salary cap, and they can't make a big splash move like that. They can't go out. The last one they made was CC Sabathia. Brewers cannot do that. They have to win how they're winning right now. And maybe sometimes, teams go and make those big splashes like the Bucks did with Damian Lillard, and it draws headlines and all that, and it doesn't always work out. Some of those moves that were made at the July 31st deadline by other teams might have drawn headlines, but here the Brewers are still in first place. Okay, now we'll see if it catches up to them in the postseason, but I'm becoming more and more, I'm learning more and more, even by covering the Brewers as long as I have, and I've been doing it for a long time. Maybe making the big splash isn't always the big deal, right? Murphy talked about this in the clubhouse the other day. He said, you know what? There were a lot of other big name players signed. We signed Shelby Miller. Shelby Miller has given him some big innings, hasn't he? We went and traded for Shelby Miller. And yeah, Shelby Miller has given him some big innings. Could be called on to close a couple of games here, depending how Uribe's uses here. And then, Uribe's the closer, but man, if you use him too much here in the next couple of days, you may have to go to your next guy up, and that would be Miller. The Brewers have done that with McGill. When they've used him too much, they've had to go to Uribe or somebody else. But Uribe will be the closer, but Miller, that was a big pickup for the Brewers. Really big pickup for that team. But the point is, The Brewers cannot, unfortunately, because of salary cap rules, they cannot go out and do what you can do in the NFL. The Packers with Micah Parsons, Damian Lillard with the Milwaukee Bucks. All right, here's my daily shout out. Durbin, play him every day. We saw him have another multiple hit game on Thursday. Mr. Clutch, Caleb Durbin, play him every day. Play him every day. He's got to be like Terang and Frelick, where, when Frelick was first called up, they weren't playing against lefties. I'm like, come on, play that guy against left-handers. Durbin, play him. He was against the righty the other day. Still had 3 hits. Play Durbin every game. Brewers on the MLB network tonight, by the way, which they'll still be on FanDuel, but worldwide on the MLB network. I know they got those stupid blackout rules, so hopefully if you don't have the package, the MLB package, if you're outside of Milwaukee, you can watch the Brewers on the MLB network tonight. And you got the 2 best teams in baseball, Toronto and Milwaukee, the Blue Jays at 78 and 56. All right. I asked earlier in the week for your questions on the mailbag. We're going to get to that coming up next. Chuck Freimund here on Locked On Brewers. Upside is a great sponsor here of Locked On Brewers. You're still paying full price for gas. Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now. Start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited promo code SEASON. Get an extra 25 cents back per gallon. The first time you fill up, you can make up to $300 a year from buying gas you already need. You need the gas, and you can make some money just buying the gas. Thought it was too good to be true? Turns out it is true. So don't let this offer drive you by. Download the free Upside app today. Use my limited promo code SEASON for a limited time, 25 cents per gallon bonus. Promo code SEASON. Offers may vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Good to have you all here on Locked On Brewers. And by the way, I always use this part of the show to tell you, get this podcast on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your audio podcast. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet. This message is for the YouTube users out there. And if you're already downloading us on those podcast platforms, thank you. Please check us out on YouTube as well. Search Locked On Brewers on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That alerts you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. Can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you guys every day for listening to Locked On Brewers. We're doing this on a Friday morning. All right, some of the questions I want to get to. Lots of questions. A lot of you are upset that Anthony Ziegler is in there, and I get it. Good morning, Chuck. I saw Woodruff's contract is a mutual option for 2026. Do you think it'll get picked up? Ideally, we sign him to an extension, but based on the ownership's lack of spending, my fear is Woodruff walks and goes elsewhere. All right, and this is sent by TT. TT, they got a $20 million option for 2026. I think a lot depends on how healthy he is and how good he is down the stretch as well. He's been so good so far. Hopefully there's not a dip in velocity or performance and all that, but I would love to see them buy him out of 2026 somehow and come to terms on a few years deal. He's going to be 33 next year. I love Woodruff. He's pitching. He's got ace-like stuff. Yes. Do I think they'll do it? I think they will. I have a feeling they'll buy him out of 2026 of that $20 million and maybe extend it over a few years because Woodruff wants a long-term deal. He wants some financial security as well. The Brewers have put a lot into him. Obviously, they gave him that 2-year, $20 million deal in February 2024, and I think they've invested a lot in him. They like what they see. He's been great. Let's keep him for the next couple of years. But I think it does matter. Does he stay healthy down the stretch here? Because if he doesn't stay healthy, as we saw back in 2023, the Brewers were willing to let him walk because he got hurt. And then they signed him, and then he turned out they put a lot of time, and he put a lot of time in it, and it turned out to be a great move. All right. Kristen McSorley comes up with this. What uniform is your favorite? My uniform favorite is the road uniforms of the mid-'70s, the Brewers, the Powder Blues. I love the Powder Blues Brewers. Now, it reminds me of a lot of bad Brewers teams, but I'm talking like 75, 1976, 77, before they went to the MB. I don't know if I see any up here, my back wall. No, maybe up there are the programs at all. The powder blue, where it says Brewers across powder blue road uniforms. I love those uniforms. Op Sports says Monasterio is the Brewers version of the 1981 Daryl Thomas on the Dodgers. Will they pick up Kenley Jensen from the Angels? I don't think Kenley Jensen's been released, right? I didn't see anything about Kenley Jensen being released from the Angels. But who knows? I didn't see them picking up Eric Fetty. I didn't see them picking up him and signing him to a 1-year deal. But Daryl Thomas, interesting. Daryl Thomas, light hitter from the Dodgers, versatile, played everywhere for those 81 Dodgers. Monasterio, I did not like Monasterio being pinch hit for with Ziegler yesterday in the 9th inning. Monasterio is on a heater. Come on, we feel good with him up the plate. Monasterio is outperforming what our expectations are, and he's on a little bit of a roll here. Don't pinch hit for him. My goodness. Come on, you would feel. Is there a Brewer fan who felt good about Ziegler coming to the plate in place of Monasterio in the 9th inning? I didn't. With all these injuries adding up, do you think they can hang on to the top seed? Do you think they could set a franchise record for wins? They're 83-52. 27 games to play. They need to go 13-15 to tie. Now it's 14 and 14 probably to tie. Yeah, I still think I think they're going to go better than 500. We'll see September how they do. September is the ultimate litmus test with every contender. Some teams just die off in September. Some teams charge to the finish line. Remember, under Craig, it was always Craig Temper, right? I mean, that was like the one good thing I could remember from the Craig Counsell era, is other than the fact that his team sleptwalk a lot of times. I should be giving Craig some more credit. They did turn it on in September. But it was funny seeing Craig get swept in San Francisco when Cub fans thought they were back. But yes, I think they can. I still think they're going to turn this around. Are they going to play at an 800 clip like they did in early August and July? I'm just an amazing clip, winning 40 of 50. No, I don't think they're there yet. They got some injuries. They're a tired team. But offensively, got to get that runners in scoring position going this weekend. And two for 24 this past weekend. All right. Now we got your Anthony Ziegler questions. Anthony Ziegler, is this Brewers team what Randy Brewer was to the 80s? The Bucks. That's Anthony. Anthony. Yeah. Randy Brewer was a Buck player who was 7'4", who looked good, looked the part, but didn't play the part. 7'4", and he was terrible. But Ziegler's a minor leaguer. We keep running this guy out there like, he's a front liner, and I don't get it. Nicholas, I'm still confused on how often he plays Ziegler or pinch hits him for Durbin. Durbin has proven to be a good hitter in the clutch. I think my biggest shock of the year is the growth of Uribe. I'm not shocked at the growth of Uribe. We saw he hit, last year was a bad year for him. He got in that little issue. He got in a little bit of a brawl. Ended up hurting his knee, not because of the brawl. Didn't have a very good year. He bounced back. He's got big expectations of himself. I think he grew up a little bit over the winter. Okay. I think he grew up, and I think he matured a little bit. And so not surprising that he is having this type of year. He's got great stuff. He's got a great arm, great attitude. So no, I think he's going to be good. And yeah, I'm with you. Anthony Ziegler. I'm baffled anytime Ziegler is pinch hitting for Durbin or even playing ahead of Durbin. Righty, lefty, I don't care. Hey, Chuck, frequent listener of the pod. Thank you very much. Question for your Mailbag. What is your ideal bullpen? Assuming we get Gasser, DL Hall, and Rob Z back. Rob Z, keep thinking he's going to come back soon. DL Hall. Gasser, I'm not really counting on. Ideal bullpen. Well, you love to have McGill back, obviously. You got to get him back, hopefully, with that flexor strain. Always worried about stuff like that when a pitcher goes on an injured list. Uribe is the setup guy. Koenig, I think, has put a lot of mileage on him. I do like Ashby in long relief as well. DL Hall, I think, factors into that. Rob Z. Missing somebody off the top of my head here. But those are my frontline guys right there. And that's a pretty good bullpen. It's been one of the best bullpens in baseball. I think Miz is going to have some bullpen spots, although I'm encouraged by the way he threw his last outing. The walks issue, I don't think I'm not going to say that he's cured that walk issue. Quintana, I think, will be a long relief out of the bullpen in the playoffs. Long relief. I don't see him starting a game. I could be wrong on that. He started against the Brewers when he played the Mets last year, but we'll see. A lot depends on health. And we got a long way to go between now and October. Long way to go. Bill says, and by the way, Terrapin, thanks for your question. Shannon, her girlfriend, her best friend is a Maryland Terrapin. Can you go over the expanded roster September call-ups? You can expand your roster by a couple of players here. You can't expand it to 40. I believe it's 28. You could just expand your roster. Yeah, gone are the days where you just be able to fill up that entire dugout, which I thought was dumb. The Brewers are going to have to pick and choose who they're going to fill, whether they're going to go pitching and they're going to go offense. I think they'll go pitching. They'll add a few bullpen arms, obviously, especially since their bullpen is so exhausted. So look for them to expand using arms out of the bullpen. Hoskins obviously is going to get added to this team. He's going to be added. And by the way, yesterday, Vaughn was taking reps at third base. Odd. I think they'd only use him at third base in an emergency situation. I don't think they'd start Vaughn at third base and Hoskins over at first. I don't see them doing that. But Vaughn, he looked pretty good over there, fielding balls over at third. Of course, that's batting practice. But interesting that Vaughn was taking reps over at third base. I don't know how much I should read into that. We'll see. All right, we'll come back and wrap this up after this here on Locked On Brewers. By the way, we have a promo. We have a survey that's out. We have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey. Learn more about our listeners. Make your favorite podcasts even better. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. You'll enter for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Lockedonpodcast.com/survey. Tell them that Chuck Freimund is your favorite podcast host. All right, I could say that. Monarch Money, great sponsor here at Locked On Brewers. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or what they're even worth, whether it's a 401k, properties, investments. But hey, the full picture, you can get it with Monarch Money. Monarch Money is built for people with busy lives. They'll tell you financially how you're doing, where you're spending money where you shouldn't, like maybe going out to eat like we do here in our family. See clear data visuals, smart money. You want to be able to spend your money the smart way. And Monarch Money is going to say where you're spending your money foolishly and where you're spending your money in the right direction. So don't let this financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Go to LockedOnMLB at monarchmoney.com. In your browser, half off your first year, 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. Use the promo code LockedOnMLB. All right, here we go. A couple of minutes here. Appreciate everybody tuning in here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. All you everydayers, we are the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet because of you everydayers out there. All right, here are the pitching matchups. Freddie Peralta against Shane Bieber. Gausman against Priester on Saturday. That's an afternoon game. Woody against Scherzer on Sunday. You guys will be up north enjoying summer's last hurrah here in Wisconsin, Labor Day. It's always interesting because like on Friday morning, you see all the traffic on 41 heading north. And then Monday, about noon or so, everybody heading back south on 41. I don't live too far off 41, so I see it. So if you're up north or whatever, hey, and if you're up north watching or listening to this podcast or whatever, drop me a note on DM. Give me a picture of you on the lake or whatever in front of a campfire. Man, I love seeing those pictures, especially on a weekend like this. great weekend, Labor Day weekend. Like I said, this Blue Jay team, they put the ball in play, low strikeout totals. They got some guys who could play on that team. This is going to be one of their tougher matchups for the Brewers because the Blue Jays don't beat themselves, just like the Brewers tend to not beat themselves, right? Taking advantage of teams' mistakes. That's how the Blue Jays not going to be easy, especially, but the Brewers have, you got to like who they're starting on the mound. Peralta, Priester, and Woody going to war with those three guys. Got to love it. But on Saturday, Scherzer is capable of putting up 7 strong, even though he's 41, 42 years old. Bieber's going to be tough. Gausman should be a great series. Night game tonight, afternoon games on Saturday and Sunday. So, man, appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for tuning us in. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Have yourself a great Labor Day weekend. Man, I appreciate everybody, all you people for writing in and telling us how much you love the podcast. Wherever you are, whether it's the great state of Wisconsin or anywhere in the country, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have yourself a good one. You all deserve it. We'll talk to you all Monday on Locked On Brewers.